Chapter 7, second day review. When I'm going over reviews, I talk about common misconceptions I see. I talk about what's going to be on the test, what's similar to the test. Okay, so very important that you pay attention and follow along. On 1 through 6, with proportions, how do we solve these? Looking at number 2. What method do we use? Cross multiply 6 times 9. 6 times 9, you get 54, and then b times 3. 3b, and then we divide by 3, so we get b equals 18. Okay, make sure. All right, looking at 5, how is that one different than the one we just did? It has 2 terms together, right? What do we do with x plus 6 first? Put it in parentheses, because then at the end we're going to have to distribute. Okay, so we take 9 times 9, which is 81. And then we get 7 times x plus 6. Okay, yep, common misconception. Everyone gets the 7x part. We got to remember to distribute also to the 6. Okay, so that turns to 42. Okay, don't forget that second part of distributing to the other number. Okay, then from here, solve like normal, subtract 42. So you get 39 equals 7x. And then last step, divide by 7. You will not get fractions on the test, but in this case, if you do, what do?
Make it smaller.
Make it smaller if you can. On this one, can you?
No.
Nope. So this is just our answer on this one. Okay, any questions with proportions? Biggest thing to remember is put parentheses around those double terms. Can I move on? Okay, on 7 and 8. Look at number 7. You will not have decimals. Change the decimals to 8 and 14, like I did here. When you're trying to state if they are similar or not, what do you do? What do you look at when you're only given sides? What do you do? Make your ratios, right? So if I start with 12 here, 12 over what? What does 12 go with on the other shape? 14. And then with that, what do I do? Right.
You divide it by a like term.
Yep. Which is what?
2.
2. Which you get what?
12 divided by 2 is
6 over
7.
7. Good. Joe, which one did you say? Close. Really close. What goes with, if I use 24, what goes with 24? 18, right? Yep. Divide by what? Do 2. And we get 9 over 12. Can I still do that one?
No.
Divide by 3, we get 3 over 4. What does that tell us?
It's not.
That tells us no. Okay. To be yes, what do they have to be? They have to be the same, right? Okay. On the next page, biggest thing with 9 and 10 is making sure we're reading directions. Okay, because what does it ask us to do?
Polygons in the pair similar. Find the scale factor of the smaller pair.
Right, it wants us to find the scale factor. Another big hint in the directions is it wants smaller figure to larger figure. So we need the smaller figure first. That means they want the smaller one on the top.
4 over 8.
Yep. So if I start with the smaller figure, I have 4. What matches 4? 8. And then what do I do with that?
Divide by 4. That gives you 2 over 4.
Divide by 4. We get 2. Nope. We get 1 over 2. That's all at once. You don't have to do both. It just wants the scale factor from smaller to larger. Okay. With those, to check, you want to make sure the smaller number's on the top and the larger number's on the bottom. Okay. Questions on scale factor? All right. On 11 and 12, looking at number 11, it wants us to solve for x. When it says solve for x, what are you going to set up? A proportion, okay? What I like to do, what I like to do is start with your x and then go off of there. X plus 2, what does that match with? On the other shape? 12. Since I started with x plus 2, what needs to go on the top on the other one? 4 over 8. Good. And then from here, how do I solve? Cross multiply. Don't forget that x plus 2 stays together. Okay, so we have 48 equals 8 times x plus 2. When you distribute, what do I get?
8x and 16.
Yep, don't forget that second part. 8x, and then we have 8 times 2, which is 16. From here, solve like normal. Minus 16. So we get 32 equals 8x. Last step, divide by 8. So we get x equals 4. Okay, is everyone comfortable with solving now? Okay. Moving on to 13 and 14. Okay, off to the side, everyone take these notes. Okay, the options for similar. Remember, we just did the ratios. Made our ratios. That was one option you can do. Okay, what about angles? How many angles do we need to be similar?
2.
We need at least 2, right? 2 angles. What was the other one? It was the theorem.
Okay.
Similar to what we did in the past. Side,
Angle side.
side, angle, side. Yep, those are your 3 options determining if they're similar. Okay, so looking at 13, always check for an angle first. Do we have angles to work with?
Yeah.
You, right? That shared one? Okay, do we have another angle?
No.
No. What do we have, though?
Sides.
Sides, so we need to check for side, angle, side, right? How do we check for sides? What do we do?
Ratio.
Ratios, right? If I start with, let's say 12.
12 over 45.
Careful.
No.
Common misconception, okay? If
Wait,
you have 12,
47.
that's the smaller side of that triangle, right? Smaller than 12. So you want the smaller of the other one, which is 27. Yep. And then since I started with 12, I start with 20 over
45.
45. Good. Oh, I don't know why I did that. What did I do wrong?
You made a,
I made a proportion.
yeah, you're doing a ratio.
Yep.
Divide
We
by
want to
3.
do ratios. So then we have 20 over 45. At 12 over 47, or 12 over 27, what can I divide by?
3.
Divide by 3, we get 4 over
8, 9.
4 over 9. What do we divide by for 20 over 45?
5.
Divide by 5, and we get
4 over 9.
4 over 9. What does that tell us?
They're similar.
They're similar.
So,
Okay. Which method were we using out of those 3?
side equals side.
Yep. So this would be a yes. Okay. Looking at 14, okay, still base it off of those 3 options, okay? Do we have matching angles?
Yeah.
T is one. Do we have another one? U and B, right? So we just did 2 angles. Are they similar?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so remember, you just need those 2 to match. Questions before I flip to the last page?
No.
Okay. Same thing. Okay, stating if these 2 triangles are similar. Look for angles first. Do we have an angle on 15?
D.
That shared one, right? Do we have another angle?
No.
No. So what do we check for?
Side equals side.
Yep, those other ratios. So if I start with 10
Over 12.
Right, small over small. And then what's my other side?
19 over 20.
Good. What can I divide 10 over 12 by?
2.
Divide by 2.
That should be 5 over 6.
5 over 6. What can I divide the bottom one by? Nothing, right? Nothing. So what does that tell us?
No.
This is no. Yep. 16 is very similar to the one we just did. I'll leave that one for you to try. Okay. Move down to 17 and 18. It wants us to find the missing length. Whenever it says find the missing length or find x, what are we going to set up?
Ratio.
Proportion, right? Think of this as x. So if I start with x, what side does x match? 4. Yep. Be careful because they did flip the triangle. So make sure you match the sides together. So x over 4, what's my other ratio?
72.
Yep. 72 over 9. And then from here, what do I do? Cross multiply. 288 equals 9x. Last step. Divide by 9. We get x equals 32. Okay, biggest thing is being careful setting up your ratios correctly. Make sure you match up the sides. Okay. Last couple. Do you want to do 19 or 20? 20? Okay, I want to talk about 19 quick. Which sides match up?
6 and 30.
Yep.
15 x.
Look across from each other. So we get x over 50 and then 6 over 30. I'll let you guys finish that one. On 20, okay, it is flipped, but what's nice about that one?
Set up.
So if I start with 4x minus 4, what goes under that? 15. Which one did you choose? Doesn't matter which 15 you choose?
No.
No, doesn't matter. Okay? What needs to be on the top on the other one?
15 over 20.
Careful. Since I started with 4x minus 4, what needs to be on the top on the other one? 20 over 15. Yep. Okay, how do I solve this one? Cross multiply. Yep, throw your parentheses in there.
Distribute,
So we have 15
60x
times 4x minus 4
60x minus
equals 15 times 20, 300.
20.
Now, when you distribute, do you distribute to one or distribute to both? Both, yep. 15 times 4,
60
you get 60x.
minus 60.
And then minus 60 equals 300. And then we solve. What's our first step to solve? Yep.
60.
Add 60. So we have 60x equals 360. Last step. Divide. We get x equals
200.
X equals
6. Yep. Any questions over any of the review or anything about the test? Good? All right.